Alright, guys, today or yesterday we saw an older movie, not incredibly old, but at the Dollar Theater we saw Selma, the picture about Martin Luther King and his Selma protests and things. This was based on real events, so spoilers don't apply here, but we spoil all of our movies anyways, so it's all good. Aiden, can you describe the plot of Selma?
Well, essentially, it starts after Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech when he's doing the march in Selma from Selma to Washington, and that's the entirety of the movie.
Alright, Aiden.
What did you think, Connor?
I thought Selma was pretty good with some exceptions, but overall it was an alright movie. It got out what it was supposed to, and it's a decent picture for a biopic, real event based movie. What did you think about Selma, Aiden?
I too thought it was pretty alright. There's not a lot to say about it without going into more detail, but it was a fine movie. It was done fairly well, and the actor who played Martin Luther King was really good. Should we start going into some more depth about it?
Yeah, no shit. Let's talk about the best and the worst things about those movies before we go on. What was your favorite part of the movie, Aiden?
The best part by far was, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but the guy who played Martin Luther King did a really good job, partially because he looked kind of like Martin Luther King already, but he also did the voice really well. I'm sure anyone who knows even a little bit about Martin Luther King kind of knows his voice, and I think he really nailed that. As for the parts I dislike, there was some weird stuff that seems to be kind of fictional, like during one of the marches there's a racist cop riding a horse with a whip, and I can't find any evidence that that actually happened online, and if someone can prove me wrong, that'd be great. Connor, what were your favorite parts?
Yeah, like you said, I appreciated, I forget the actor's name. We probably should have looked it up because I actually did think he did a really good job on Martin Luther King. But he did a really nice job in the movie, doing Martin Luther King. A big thing about Martin Luther King isn't only the look of him, but if you're going to try and play the character, you have to get a good voice emulation of him, because most people know him not just by look, but by the voice, his powerful speeches and stuff. And I thought the actor who played him, I again apologize for not remembering his name, but the actor who played him did quite a good job emulating the look and the feel of Martin Luther King, which is really good. Probably my least favorite part of the film is there were times like the racist people looked like stereotypical racism, if that makes any sense. Like there was a scene in particular, it was kind of cutting back and forth, like the Selma March, I believe, was assembling, and then it jumped to the racist people assembling to try and like stop the assembly or whatever, and they were leaning up against trucks with their shotguns or whatever, and they were just these racist people with like the squinty eyes. They're always frowning, and they're just disgusting looking people. They're just they just looked racist and like bad people, and I feel like every person in the movie that was intended to be racist looked like this old white person, pale white, not even remotely tan, doesn't
Like
look
a
like
cartoony racist.
Not really cartoony, but I mean it's just like the stereotypical. Like if I was to draw a racist in like a in a book or something, it's like a textbook racist, I guess. I don't know. Like when people think about racist people, like that's what they imagine in their mind. And I thought like it would have been more powerful if they did it where it was this realistic looking person, like this actual average Joe that just he was racist, and it would be more powerful because would feel like anyone could be racist, not just, oh, I don't look like fucking Colonel Sanders, I'm not a racist.
I don't look like Cletus on his pickup truck.
Yeah. So that was my best and worst part of the movie. What else should we talk about on Selma?
Well, I mean, it's a little difficult to talk about because it is based on real events, but I like that the narrative of the story focused not on the stuff that's commonly went over in school and the stuff that everybody knows. I Have a Dream and Martin Luther King's assassination, but it instead focuses on its own little story with the Selma.
I appreciated that too. I figured they were going to go through the whole history, or it'd be like, I don't know the exact time between Selma and his actual assassination, but I figured it would be like however many years later, and then it cuts to him getting assassinated. If they did something like that, the movie definitely would have been like, alright, yeah, we get that. And they actually, I liked when they did the, like the Where Are They Now, or not the Where Are They Now, but what happened after the fact. They just mentioned that Martin Luther King was a leader in the civil rights movement until his assassination in 19 whatever. They didn't really dwell on it too much. Like, that was like really the only mention in the movie, which I appreciated, because if you overdo something like that, it just gets corniness factor. Like kind of like Titanic at the end, where like the lady just dwells on the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio dies. I guess that's a little different thing. I don't know why that was the one I thought of, but it was. You know what I mean. So I did like that. They talked about the history of the actual event that the movie was based off of, and they didn't just intentionally make it exclusively about, or not exclusively, but they focused on what they were trying to tell in that movie, which was the story of Selma, which happened to be about Martin Luther King, but it didn't dwell too much on his entire life. And I liked how there was a cast dynamic with it, too, where it wasn't just Martin Luther King and all his things. Obviously, it mainly followed Martin Luther King, because he was kind of the leader of the whole thing, but you actually did get screen time. You heard what other people thought. It wasn't just, everyone loves Martin Luther King. You even saw some people torn, like, should we do this the same way as Martin Luther King thinks, or is he kind of just a fraud? Which obviously what he did worked out in the long run, but it brings up questions like those between the characters. Like, the characters start to doubt themselves and their leader, and I thought that was kind of cool.
There's one more thing I think we have to bring up, maybe a few more, but the rap music at the end.
Oh, the credits, yeah.
In the trailer for the movie, they play rap music. What song was in the trailer? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
No. Well, it's weird and inappropriate in a way. Well, maybe not inappropriate is the right word, but kind of disrespectful. Not
really. Like, the thing that I don't think it's disrespectful or weird. Obviously, a lot of rap music is
maybe
rap music's big in the African American crowd, which obviously a lot of them are going to watch the movie. So whoever picked out the music thought it would be a good idea to use that, and I think it was kind of out of place, and they might have been trying to play towards their audience. And obviously, like, yes, statistically it is true. There's a lot of black people that like rap music, and a lot of everyone.
It's okay. I guess what I would call it is misguided.
I thought it was out of place is the thing. Like, you can see what they were going for. I think that's what they were going for, is to try and cater to that market, but it seemed out of place because just the music was kind of like, it felt like DMX was singing about Martin Luther King.
The good thing about it was
it just seemed out of place.
In the actual movie, the rap music doesn't start until the end credits. So they got through the whole movie without using the rap music until the very end.
That's why I don't really discredit it for that. Like, if they were like using it during like one of the protests or something, where like the music would be more out of place, but at the end credits it's like, okay, it's out of place and weird, but I'm not going to take points away for it, because obviously that was like a producer's decision. I don't think the director's like, it'd be sweet if we had rap in this for no reason. Most movies don't use rap too, unless you're like a Snoop Dogg movie. Rap's just kind of out of place for music, and I think rap's a good genre, but just in movies generally, people don't use rap. They use orchestrated music or pop medleys in the case of 50 Shades of Grey. You know? But usually rap songs are a little out of place, and I guess I kind of get what they were doing there, but I thought it was weird. But, Yeah, overall, I thought the acting was good. It was a pretty good representation of a lot of things. I thought some stuff was over the top. We're unsure if there were actually whips during during the police.
I'm also not positive that President Hoover attempted to assassinate Martin Luther King. I also couldn't find any indication of that. But
yeah, there was a lot of the stuff between the president and like other people. Like maybe he disliked Martin Luther King. That's one thing, but like a lot of like the private conversations that no one would know about. It's like we want to assassinate Martin Luther King, and maybe it's fully true, but like.
But I don't think so.
And then, like, the president was, like, just being racist, like, overly racist at times there, and it's just, like, even the president, they picked the guy from Unfinished Business.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a coincidence.
They picked the guy from Unfinished Business, and he's an old guy, and he kind of looks racist if you put him in, like, the filter they used.
Oh, the filter. I forgot to talk about that. So the whole movie is actually covered in a beautiful filter that makes everything look gray. And it makes the movie look kind of bad.
You should elaborate. It's like a brighter, but it makes everything like it's like a bright, thin white filter over it, and
it's like weird. Someone turned the contrast way up, and it's distracting.
It's not like the Man of Steel gray, where it's meant to be gray, so it's like this is dark and edgy because, like, you know, the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel both did that, where they had the edge filter on, you know?
It's especially distracting in the outside scenes where the sky just appears like murky gray, and you're like, what? Like, I don't know what they were going for with that entirely.
I think they were just trying to keep it all contrasted, I guess, or similar. Not contrasted, but they were trying to keep it similar throughout the whole movie, and that was the feel they wanted it to have, but a lot of movies use filters now. I guess editing color to make the match scene to scene I'm fine with, but I think if you're like Man of Steel, where you just have that obnoxious, incredibly obvious filter, that kind of annoys me somewhat.
Yeah, in the end, it wasn't the most terrible filter. I mean, I would definitely call the Dark Knight worse in the filter department.
Man of Steel was just like, let's do the Dark Knight filter times 12. It was like the same filter as the Dark Knight times 10, but
it was pretty noticeably distracting. Is there anything else you'd like to say about this movie?
Not fully. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good watch. I mean, by now it's probably closer to DVD than finding it in theaters. I know it's still at White Bear in our area.
Yeah, well,
it's still at the White Bear Theater, but which is a pretty big theater. But and then we saw it at the Dollar Theater actually, and that's why it was still open. But mostly the Dollar Theater means it's like halfway between DVD and theaters. So I would guess probably wait for it to rent it, unless it's in a theater near you. If you kind of like these history biopics, I would suggest it. But I mean, yeah, it's a lot better than a lot of them, like Jobs that we've been seeing lately. So I would suggest it in that respect. So yeah, I have no other real comments on it. I thought it was pretty okay.
Alright.
Especially if like this is like a type of movement you like. It was also pretty historically accurate too.
For the most part, yeah.
Which I want to comment on. I mean, I didn't like really notice anything. Like I'm not like that guy that's like, actually that blender came out a year later. Just saying.
Oh, like that, yeah.
It's not like Django Unchained inaccurate where things weren't invented yet that were huge plot points. Like Dynamite.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not, I don't care that much if a movie's good. It matters more in biopics and stuff, but there wasn't any glaring historical inaccuracies like with things that were actually on there. It looked right for the time period, which is very important in a biopic, and that's why our Hitler biopic is going to be fucking great.
Don't spoil the surprise.
I'm not going to spoil the surprise, man. But we are making a Hitler biopic after a lot of our future projects. We have projects just coming up, but I think the Hitler biopic might be fast-tracked.
I don't know about that. I don't know how easy it would be. Do we really know anyone who looks like Hitler?
Fast-tracked, no. But if you toss anyone in a Hitler mustache, they look like Hitler. Charlie Chaplin didn't look much like Hitler. He had a Hitler mustache, and everyone calls him Hitler guy, you know?
Who's ever called him Hitler guy?
I was in class, and we watched the Charlie Chaplin thing in speech class, because she was like, You can show emotions through looks and shit, you know what I'm saying? So we were watching Charlie Chaplin, and they're like, look at Hitler guy! And then they all started calling him Hitler guy.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, really, Hitler's the Charlie Chaplin guy, if anything. Because Charlie Chaplin had the stats first.
The thing about Charlie Chaplin is he's not nearly as memorable as Hitler. Because
That's
Charlie Chaplin didn't murder millions of innocent people.
Charlie Chaplin's a great actor.
That got dark.
Dead silent. Not really. I was saying I like Charlie Chaplin better than Hitler.
Well, yeah, I do too. Most people do, I believe.
Unless you're a Nazi.
Well, some neo-Nazis probably appreciate
Yeah, I would say
the works of
Hitler more than Charlie Chaplin, probably. I mean, this got fucking dark. Let's end it. Selma was pretty
That's what
good.
the editing room is for.
Rent it, whatever.